Welcome to another edition of Crossing the Middle Ministry. I want to talk to you about one of the most famous verses in the Bible, which is James 4:17. It says, "Therefore to him that knoweth to do good, and doeth it not, to him it is a sin." Okay. So, of course, there's a obvious question about why is it a sin? Because, and this is the reasoning for that, because the things that we do have a dominoes effect in everything that we participate in, whether it's good or whether it's bad. The people we influence, where we go, and this stuff is forever. You know, the Lord really wants us to do things that are lasting. And I keep thinking of that verse. The Bible says, "The fool said in his heart, there is no God." And same reasoning there is that those choices that we make has a domino effect in everybody's life around us. There's an old saying that goes, "No man is an island." The reason that is because everybody's life touches everyone else, has an effect. You can just glance at a person, just look toward a person, and whether you smile, if you look mean, you look upset, you've touched that person's life. You know. Told my son, I said, a little bit of us rub off on each other every time we meet. You know. The old saying that birds of a feather flock together. Well, birds that act alike, you know. And if you hang around a bunch of people that are bad people, you hang around there long enough, that's going to rub off onto you. I see people all the time making comments like other people that they know. And they begin to act like, some people will start acting like those folks. I mean, they'll get to the place where they'll dress like them, they'll talk like them, and they'll mock them. They'll get into the same subject. And this one fellow on TV, you know, in particular comes to mind. He got him a little beard, and he plays the piano, and all he talks about is money. Well, here comes this other fellow who grew him a little beard. Come to think of it, I don't think this other fellow played the piano, but all he talked about is money, you know, and got him a doctorate in the same thing that the other fellow was in. So rubbed off. And we have influences, you know. That's why the Bible talks about, if you know to do good and you don't do it, to you it's a sin, because of the influential factor that you have in other people's lives. If you just lay down and never do anything, let's say you don't do nothing, you never make any decisions, you never try to make an influence in anybody's life. You don't even eat. You just lay there, stare at a place on the ceiling. You know. Well, listen now. Somebody, you know, your brothers, your mothers, your sisters, those people whose lives you would have affected, would be left a hole into. One of the worst things that happened to men when Adam and Eve separated in the garden was that God left a huge void space inside of man. He left earth, went back to heaven, never came back in a long time. Doesn't speak to man like he used to. Used to be common knowledge. God walked with us every day, come down and walk in the garden, and it was just a normal thing for God to come down and be with man. Excuse me. That's before man knew sin. Okay. But in this thing where God left us is a huge testimony to man, because man has this void feeling inside of him, okay, and he doesn't have that thing that used to be there. So the testimony is that something is missing in his life, okay, and this is the same strategy that James is using here when he says, to him that knoweth to do good and does it not, to him it is a sin. Because see, you're leaving a void in that place where something good should be. Did God sin? No, God's not bound by the same rules. God's not a sinner. Men are. You know, I can't see why people don't understand that. But God's not the one that sinned here. He's not the one that separated. God's not bound by the Ten Commandments. God lives above the Ten Commandments. But this is the illustration here, is the fact that when we don't do good, it leaves a void in the place of where something should be. Okay, so that's why the Bible says that. Now, I'm not sure if I expressed it very well or not, but that's it in a nutshell. Okay, so alright, God bless. Thanks for joining me again today. We'll see you again tomorrow with another great subject right here across in the Middle Ministry. God bless.